first question is, why does the therapeutic relationship matter? This is a hugely important question. Why would I be here if it didn't matter? But meta-analyses, which are the gold standard of evidence, suggest that up to 40% of the effectiveness of therapy can be attributed to the quality of the therapeutic relationship. Now, it does vary from study to study. Estimates do vary from about 20% up to 66% actually is the most recent study I've seen. The Therapeutic Alliance appears to account for up to 7 times more variance in therapeutic outcomes than the specific therapeutic approach. Now, when we think about the amount of time we spend learning our particular theoretical orientation and particular techniques for our theoretical orientation, it seems bizarre that the Therapeutic Alliance seems to be so much more of a predictor of therapeutic outcome and therapeutic success.
It's quite interesting, that balance in training, isn't it? As you're pointing out to us there, like we really look at the theory, but the relationship is so important. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, there are a number of other very important factors as well. How ready the client is for change, how much they desire it, and how much they are willing to work toward it is obviously hugely important as well. But I think in terms of factors that the therapist can control, it's basically down to the therapeutic, or not that they can control the therapeutic relationship, but certainly we can contribute to the therapeutic relationship in a significant way, and the therapeutic approach. Those two items seem to be the bigger predictors that are within our control.
Right.
So I've found that when I tell people that online therapy is my passion, people often respond that, oh, well, surely you can't build an effective therapeutic relationship online. Computers are so cold, they're so clinical. It can't be possible, really, to do online therapy effectively. So if we move on to the next slide, you can see an example that came up on my Facebook feed. I'm part of a group of people who are interested in online counselling. So somebody who ran a private counselling practice put up this message, and it said, "We would love to know your views on phone and Skype counselling. Are you a counsellor that offers it? Perhaps you've been a client who has used these services. Our practice doesn't offer these services, as person-centred therapy is strongly based around the therapeutic relationship, and we don't feel this can be truly achieved long distance. What are your thoughts?" So I thought that was quite a strong statement.
Wow.
And it brought up quite strong feelings in myself.
Yeah.
But those feelings were very personal. They weren't academic and they weren't scientifically based. So through my experience, I was pretty sure that it was possible to construct a satisfying therapeutic alliance online, but I decided to look into the literature to see if other people had had those experiences and had this been studied in any kind of rigorous way. So the first thing I looked at was if it was possible to construct a satisfying therapeutic alliance online. So if we move on to the next slide, I have a little bit of information on that.
Yeah, I've got that up, Chris.
Yeah. Perfect. So randomized control trials, they're the gold standard in study design. Randomized control trials of the effect of email therapy on adults with work-related stress and people with depression found the clients rated the therapeutic alliance as being satisfying, and they didn't regret the lack of face-to-face contact with their therapist. So that was quite vital, I think, that there wasn't a sense that the online relationship was somehow less than the face-to-face relationship would be.
So that's a nice outcome from that study, to really get the client's experience of that. Yeah.
Absolutely, and the majority of these studies actually focus on the client experience, because of course that is the most important factor. The therapist's reflection on what the therapeutic alliance is can be it can be a great contributor, but I think that it's the client's reflection that seems to be much more important for us, I think.
Okay.
So if we move on to the next slide, it's looking at young people. So Hanley did an empirical review of the evidence, looking at all of the articles that had been published on the online therapeutic relationship up until that point. So these studies involved a total of 574 clients who were treated by 18 therapists through a variety of